Hey, this is Travis. In the last video, we talked about MakerDAO. This is the second stop in our understanding of the entire DeFi ecosystem. MakerDAO allows you to deposit volatile crypto assets into a vault and borrow a stable asset or stable coin called DAI. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about an overall lending market for crypto tokens, and we're going to focus on the protocol Compound. Let's get into it. So this lending borrowing platform called Compound, it opens up the lending space to many different coins here. We can see that we can lend and borrow all these other coins, and it establishes a time value to the tokens here. Now we have interest rates that we can earn by supplying these tokens into lending pools. It's kind of similar to the liquidity pools that we looked at on Uniswap, but if I am a lender, then I can come in here and I can choose to deposit my Ether into here. I can supply my Ether into this Compound lending pool. So I'm going to send that transaction, and we'll see that in a second that my Ether will have landed in the in this lending pool right here, and I'm earning 2.83% per year on this. And in a similar way, borrowers can come in and they can borrow these tokens from the lending pools. So what a borrower does is they first have to supply into a lending pool and then click that they want to use this as collateral. This is very similar to what's happening on MakerDAO, where you have to deposit crypto collateral in order to take a DAI loan out. Well, I have to deposit crypto collateral to take out another token loan from this borrowing protocol, right? So I'm going to say, use this Ether as collateral. So I'm going to have one ETH as collateral that I can borrow against now. And I can borrow any of these other tokens. So like, let's say that I want to borrow Uniswap. I can get 46 uni token. I can click borrow. And now this is going to go through and I should have uni land into my wallet. Now, borrowing in these loans are very similar to MakerDAO. They need to be over collateralized, and Compound uses something called a collateral factor or CF score for each one of these pools. So like, let's say the CF for Uniswap is 75%. It means that I can only borrow up to 75% the value of my collateral. So if my collateral is worth about $2,000, then I can borrow about $1,500 worth of uni token. And also understand that I am paying an interest rate on this uni token that I have borrowed. Now, these interest rates are called floating interest rates, and the interest rates vary based on the amount of liquidity in that lending pool. So if like the less tokens in a lending pool, the more it's going to cost to borrow them, because it's more of a scarce asset on the Compound platform. And so these interest rates update every Ethereum block. Actually, the interest rate is recalculated. But just understand that, the more scarce an asset, the more it's going to cost to borrow it. And so you can understand why liquidity is really important to make this product competitive, because if you have low liquidity, it's going to cost so much to borrow these tokens. And so to create a competitive lending and borrowing marketplace, you're going to want really deep liquidity pools, really deep lending pools, in order to attract borrowers to the platform with attractive interest rates for the borrowers. And liquidity is really important in everything else we've talked about so far. It's important across DeFi. Like, for example, you need to have liquidity in the DEX liquidity pools in order for people to come and make token swaps in the first place. And we'll talk about later on, if you have low liquidity in those pools, it's going to create a bad user experience for the trader. They're going to run into something called slippage, which I may get into later. It's more of a complex topic, but it's going to create a bad user experience if there's low liquidity in those DEX liquidity pools. So this is something that every DeFi protocol has to overcome. When they first roll out their product, they need to attract token liquidity to their product. And the reason that I used Compound in this example is because they were one of the first to implement something called liquidity mining. This is where they add an additional token reward to the suppliers and borrowers on their platform, just to incentivize that liquidity, right? So if you look here on Ether and for the Ether lending pool, you can see that I'm earning 2.83%, and then in ETH, but then also in the comp token 3.59%. And this is Compound's liquidity mining program. They are trying to make it even more attractive to supply ETH to the Compound lending pool by distributing their comp token. And again, this is an example of liquidity mining, which we're going to get into in the next video. Thank you.